In the vast, morally gray tapestry of The Sopranos, the show is often at its most incisive not when bodies are dropping, but when the mundane world of suburban New Jersey collides with the archaic, brutal code of the mafia. The scene in mergers and acquisitions between Paulie Walnuts, Gualtieri, and Principal Chucky Cirillo is a masterclass in this friction. On the surface, it is a comedic interlude, a high-ranking mobster bullying a school principal into fixing a social spat at a nursing home. However, beneath the humor lies a terrifying study of power, regression, and the transactional nature of the criminal mind. To understand this scene is to understand the fundamental disconnect between the civilian and the wise guy. For Paulie, there is no separation between the street and the institution. The rules of intimidation, leverage, and territory apply just as much in a middle school administrative office as they do in the back room of the Bada Bing. I am going to explore the subtext of this interaction, analyzing how Paulie weaponizes the past to dismantle Cirillo's authority, how gifts are used as instruments of control, and how the scene exposes the infantile yet dangerous nature of Paulie's filial loyalty.
This can't be Paulie. Chucky?
The scene begins before Paulie even enters the principal's office, establishing a crucial baseline for his behavior. We find Paulie sitting in the school waiting area, a space designed for unruly students, not grown men in camel haircoats. Visually, he is jarringly out of place. The sterile, institutional green of the lockers and the bustle of teenagers contrasts sharply with Paulie's sharp, predatory attire. His interaction with the student in the waiting area is not merely throwaway comedy, it is a microcosm of his worldview. Paulie silently observes the boy, his gaze judgmental and piercing. He is signaling that even here, in a school where he holds no official power, he is the alpha predator. This prelude serves a narrative purpose. It primes the audience to see Paulie not as a fish out of water, but as a shark in a community pool. He does not adapt to his environment, he forces the environment to adapt to him. When he eventually walks into Cirillo's office, he carries the same energy, the entitlement to police the behavior of others, into his conversation with the principal.
Come here, you pizza-faced son of a gun, you.
Theoretically, Cirillo holds the status here. He is a man of education, standing in his own domain, surrounded by certificates of achievement and the American flag. He represents legitimate success. Paulie, conversely, is a relic of the neighborhood they both came from. However, Paulie immediately dismantles Cirillo's authority through the weaponization of nostalgia. His greeting is aggressive in its familiarity by invoking the nickname Pizza Face. Paulie drags Cirillo back to their adolescence. He strips away the suit, the title of principal, and the years of professional climbing, reducing Cirillo instantly to the insecure teenager he once was. This is a classic dominance tactic. By refusing to address him as Mr. Cirillo or Principal Cirillo, Paulie denies him his current status. He forces Cirillo to engage on the terms of the neighborhood, where Paulie was the tough guy and Cirillo was the victim or the nerd. Watch Cirillo's body language during the hug. It is stiff, yielding. He laughs, but it is a nervous, deferential laugh. He tries to maintain a veneer of professionalism, saying, "Hard to believe it's been so long," but Paulie steamrolls right over this with physical domination, the hug, the patting, the invasion of personal space. Paulie is marking his territory. He is reminding Cirillo that no matter how many degrees he puts on the wall, he will always be Chucky from the block. The legitimate world Cirillo has built is revealed to be fragile when confronted with the brute force of his past. Paulie represents the gravity of the street, pulling Cirillo back down.
This is for you.
I really can't.
Go on, I got lots in them. Can't assault me.
In the world of The Sopranos, a gift is rarely just a gift. It is a transaction, a bribe, and a shackle. When Paulie places the box on the desk, Cirillo immediately recognizes the trap. "I really can't," he protests. This is the civilian code speaking, the ethical guideline that prohibits public officials from taking gifts that could be construed as bribes. Paulie, however, rejects this code entirely. "You can't insult me," he counters. This phrase is the trap snapping shut. In the mob code, refusing a gift is a sign of disrespect, and disrespect is met with hostility. Paulie frames the bribe as a gesture of friendship, making it socially impossible for Cirillo to refuse without declaring war. Paulie makes him complicit. He has compromised the principal's integrity before he even asks for the favor. Cirillo, the honest educator, likely cannot afford such a high-end luxury item on a whim. Paulie, the criminal, throws it around casually. It is a display of resource power. Paulie saying, "I have access to things you don't. I have power you don't."
No more glasses.
I had the LASIK.
And your face cleared up pretty good, too, huh?
Cleared up in 10th grade.
Ninth was my last.
He creates a parallel between them. They both had flaws, they both fixed them, but he retains the upper hand. He speaks of his own life with pride while treating Cirillo's life and his skin condition as a joke. The gift is the physical manifestation of this inequality. It sits on the desk between them, a shiny chrome symbol of the debt Cirillo now owes. The true brilliance of the scene lies in the juxtaposition of tone and topic. The atmosphere is tense, heavy with implied threat and the history of violence associated with Paulie. Yet, the actual topic of conversation is ludicrously trivial social exclusion at a nursing home.
Did your mom tell you I saw her over at Green Grove?
Apparently, she sees quite a bit of your mother.
They're both residents, but there seems to be an exclusion. I don't blame your mother.
Paulie's mother, Nuka, is being ostracized by the other ladies at Green Grove, specifically by Cirillo's mother. To a normal person, this is a minor annoyance, a petty social squabble among the elderly. To Paulie, it is a matter of supreme honor. The violence of the language is startlingly disproportionate to the situation. He brings the rhetorical intensity of a mob war to a discussion about dining hall seating arrangements. This highlights a critical aspect of the mob mindset, the inability to scale their reactions. To a sociopath like Paulie, a slight against his mother is equal to a slight against his business. There is no small stuff. Everything is a challenge to his ego and his standing.
I'm not sure I understand.
I'm just asking you to talk to your ma. See if she can include my ma in more with the group.
Cirillo is baffled. I'm not sure I understand, he says. And he genuinely doesn't. He operates in a world of logic, rules, and proportion. He cannot grasp why a man who looks like he kills people for a living is sitting in his office because his mother isn't being invited to lunch. Paulie's request, talk to your ma, is framed as a plea, but the subtext is a command. He is essentially putting a hit out on the social dynamic of the nursing home. He wants the principal to strong-arm his own elderly mother into being friends with Nuka. It is absurd, pathetic, and hilarious, but because it is Paulie asking, it is also dangerous.
Now, you know how these old gals are.
All I'm trying to do is pay my ma back for when I was a kid and got into so much trouble.
Paulie's motivation in this scene provides a deep window into his psychology. He portrays himself as the dutiful son, the protector. She always had my back, he tells Cirillo, recounting how his mother defended him against the nuns, the store owners, and the cops.
With the nuns, with the store owners up and down 13th Street, and let's face it, Chucky, with the cops.
What Paulie doesn't say, but what is glaringly obvious, is that his mother was an enabler. She defended a bad kid who grew up to be a murderer. Paulie views this enabling as love/loyalty, and he feels he owes her a debt. He is paying her back for keeping him out of trouble by using the very intimidation tactics that got him into trouble in the first place. There is a deep irony here. Paulie demands that Cirillo's mother be inclusive and kind, yet Paulie himself is a man built on exclusion and cruelty. He fails to see that his mother's isolation might be a result of her own personality, which we see later in the series is difficult and abrasive or simply the natural order of social groups. Paulie cannot accept that his mother is disliked. He assumes it must be a conspiracy that can be fixed with muscle. This reveals Paulie's stunted emotional growth. He is essentially still the child in the principal's office, waiting for his mother to come save him. Or in this case, acting as the mother saving the child. The roles are reversed, but the maturity level is identical. He projects his own need for acceptance onto his mother.
But with all of that, she always had my back.
Throughout the conversation, what Cirillo doesn't say is vital. He never stands up for his own mother. He never says, Paulie, my mother is a grown woman. She can be friends with whoever she wants. He never says, get out of my office. Cirillo's silence is the silence of the coerced. He knows exactly who Paulie is. Every pause, every nervous nod is calculated to survive the interaction. He realizes that logic will not work here. The tragedy of Cirillo is the tragedy of all civilians in the Sopranos orbit. They are forced to compromise their morals and their dignity just to make the mobster go away. Cirillo agrees to talk to his ma, not because he thinks it's right, or because he thinks it will work. He explicitly says,
it won't do much good. Now, you know how these old gals are.
Because he needs Paulie to leave. He capitulates. The scene in Mergers and Acquisitions is a perfect encapsulation of the show's central thesis regarding the mob's relationship with society. The mob does not exist in a vacuum. It is a corrosive substance that eats away at the structures around it. Paulie Gualtieri walks into a place of education and rules, and within 5 minutes, he has introduced bribery, intimidation, and the threat of violence. He reduces a respected principal to a scared teenager. He elevates a nursing home squabble to a mafia sit-down. What the characters don't say is ultimately the most important takeaway. Paulie never explicitly threatens violence, yet violence is the only reason the meeting is happening. Cirillo never explicitly agrees to sell out his mother's autonomy, yet his compliance is total. The scene exposes the lie of the honorable gangster. Paulie is not a man of honor defending his mother. He is a bully using fear to control the world around him, unable to tolerate even the slightest discomfort, forcing the rest of the world to bend to his distorted infantile will. It is funny, yes, but it is also a bleak portrait of a man who has power but no humanity.